Hey everybody, I'm John, and I just finished building this addition to our Kimbo, which is a counter and sink and faucet and drain. And I really like it. I like how it came out, and I wanted one complete level surface, which is not an option yet in Kimbo. Theirs is down a little bit, and though I've never used their setup, I like this. My wife really likes this. And so I want to show you how I built it. The main components are going to end up being your counter piece, your braces, which I ended up using aluminum strips. There's one here, one here, one here, and then underneath some aluminum angle iron. I'm trying to keep everything light. Aluminum's easy to work with, drill, etc. And then there's aluminum angle iron going all the way around, and it's all one piece. I think it was a 4-foot piece that I cut to length, and then it is fastened, if you can see that back there in the corners, with basically a metal self-tapping screw. These here are into the ferrules, or little tubes that connect to the wall. They are existing. They are what hold on this foam insulation with the headliner cover. And I just used those instead of adding anything new. There was enough. There's a couple on here that I was able to basically measure and drill and tap into, and same here, and just make sure you're long enough to get up under the aluminum or over the aluminum, deciding which way you go. Over here you can see I went on the outside, and over there I went on the inside, and here I went on the outside. So to break it down, you've got a counter to build. You've got the brackets, mounting brackets to tie into the Kimbo, and the electrical, which for me, because I don't have a pressure pump, I just turn this on and get water when I want. And then the drainage, which I used a 3-foot Flexzilla hose, and this sort of acts like if I was hooked up to a jug or something like that, because I didn't want the water dumping out on the ground or whatever. This acts sort of like a P-trap. I don't know if that'd really be a problem, but I had extra. I didn't want to cut the hose. I just figured, well, a good loop will be fine. And then the other issue is a drain. So that was a little bit of effort. Had to pull out this bottom piece underneath here of the foam to get to drill the drain and set that up. And then, of course, my plumbing for the drain. This was probably the most difficult part to figure out. I'm going to go into more detail about this because this is a big issue and kind of complicated if you're not a plumber, which I'm not. So I got this piece of plywood, birch plywood at Lowe's, and I am not super happy with it. It's like separating right here and stuff, but I kind of got it just to get started with a template. I do have hopefully some good stuff coming. We'll find out. It's supposed to be here tomorrow and I'll be gone, but anyway. So I cut it out to fit in where I want, except for I'm going to change this. I'm going to bring it across here a little more. After talking to the wife, she likes that idea better. So and she does most of the cooking, so we do it mostly outside, but you know, sometimes just. So anyway, so I'm gonna put this here. discussed that, looked good, so I got to figure out how to get that cut in. So I just put the sink on upside down like that. Trace around the outside. Of course, you don't want to cut that hole because then your sink will just fall through. So somewhere I have a compass. Then I've already got this marked, but I just carefully took my time and sink up here. This is a template, so I made a mark there, took my compass, made it a little wider, or actually narrower, and I want it narrower. So I got a little bit bigger hole. I don't want it too tight. Keep your compass pointed so that it's towards the middle. If you start turning it like this and drawing, of course, that makes a more narrow line. So you want to sort of get the axis to the center and go around. Take your time, get all the way around. And it's really just a cut line, a guidance line. So then the bigger debate was, where do we want to put the sink? So this came, I really like this faucet. It's pretty cool. So it feels really solid. And this is full on. This is just a little bit on. Now I'm going to use a little pump that's not a pressure pump, so I am going to have to probably leave it in this position and then have a button, electrical button, to activate the pump to pump the water. I don't imagine us doing a ton of dishes and stuff in here, but it'd be nice to be able to do something anyway. So I wanted it here. I just thought that was a good spot. I don't want this to hit against the rim of this, which goes with this outside line. So, but I want it pretty close. I don't want it dripping on the counter. I want it to fall in. So, the wife liked it over here. So that's where I think we're gonna put it. Happy wife, happy life, right? So that's what we're gonna do. The only reason I'm leaving the spacer on here is to make sure I'm far enough back away from the sink. Scribble a little bit of a line, enough to see where it's at. This is, I've already tested this. This is a 27/64 hole. I'm on a little hole guide. Way back when you could get handyman books, before some of you were born, and they gave you a free one of these and some other stuff. I got a square that way, a little square holder. It's pretty cool. Before we had so much stuff that we got available now. Gosh, there's so much stuff now that we can just get anything you want. So ready to go. And again, this is a template, so now's the time to figure out my mistakes. Hopefully the wood, when it comes, is good stuff, and I will trace this all on there when I get it all cut here and make sure it's where I want. And then I'm going to do for braces, right now I just have temporary, I just have a piece of wood cut at the right height, and then over here I've got a couple screws, small screws, just put in enough to hold the wood in place down in these little crevices of the cabinet they had, just kind of wedged in there. So it seems to work pretty good. And then what I will do is, I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna probably run maybe an aluminum piece up here and strengthen this corner, the pillar, and then do something back here. I really don't want to drill into the side, and I know the guy on Should Be Good. He had a really strong looking counter all riveted in here, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not really excited about putting in rivets. I don't know how good at that I am at that. So, and I don't want to deal with this either. It's just a lot of work. So I don't think I need that much strength. I don't know why I'm worried about it. This is the template, but razor sharp drill here. Okay, find out how it works. Well, I cooked that better, but oh well. Okay, nice. Like I said, this will go across here. I'll have more wood here, but there's to be two. The directions say 2 inches clearance. Any other surfaces, so I am purposely 2 inches back here, even though I don't have a wall here. It's, you know, better safe than sorry. If you didn't get the stove option in your Kimbo, sorry. It was the coolest thing, man. Okay. And then there's a drain hole. You can't see it, it's kind of dark down here. That comes, they put it in, and if you don't order the sink, I guess they just rivet it closed with a cover over it, and then so I think I'm gonna open that back up and put a drain down there, like I would have gotten if I got the sink option, but I didn't like it lowered down here like they have it. I wanted it level across here, so we're both, my wife's 5'7", I'm 6 foot, so you know, we can, this is a good height, so yep, pretty excited. So one of the issues when I was pulling out this piece of foam is that under this aluminum trim there is these knurls that are threaded that there was one here, but it was spinning, the rivet was just spinning on the outside, so I couldn't unscrew it, and I ended up drilling out the rivet, and so I'm going to replace that with a screw that they use in certain places on the outside. I'll show you that in a minute. And then and this one's riveted too, and I'm gonna actually drill that out and take it out too, even though I was able to get it out. But it broke, and it's not a big deal because that's behind the trim, but I'll show you right here. It broke out this piece, and I still gotta get it back in, and this right here is going to be very difficult. I don't even know how I got it out of there without really breaking it, but I'm gonna make it so I can put it in and take it out. Seems like that would have been a good thing to do in the factory. It's a little bit of maybe a design flaw. This piece, to take this off, is you've got to take all these screws out. And I have the shower unit, so you'd have to take all those out. And you got these back behind here. So that isn't even enough. You've now got to take the complete shower unit out, and then you can get to those. So that wasn't really an option to me. It was just a lot of work just to pull this one board out. I'm gonna drill out this rivet, and I recommend anybody else drilling out both these rivets and putting these knurls back in with a screw on the outside. This is the standard rivet you see out here, but in some places you'll see these little hex head screws and in key spots, and so that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm going to use. This is the countertop, and it's drying. I've just applied some wipe on poly, I should say. Yeah, I think it came out pretty nice. This is actually the top. So we'll see. I got a little, the veneer on this is this particular type of birch, Baltic birch, is super thin. If you can get the forest products that Kimbo uses for their plywood, good luck finding or getting it, but it's not anywhere where I am, and it's way better quality than this. So got this in, pretty happy with it. A lot of garbage on top, but just finished it. It's kind of dark in here, sorry about that. We are snowing here, and we don't get snow often, and I have all the batteries and everything from inside the Kimbo in the house. Keep staying warm. So anyway, this is, I just wanted to show you what I ended up doing to brace the table in place. Is, of course, I've got the band of angle iron or angle aluminum running around, and then fastened it up here with the same way. Word to the wise, this stuff that Kimbo uses, this stuff is crazy hard. As far as, like, when I drill into this, I don't even have to pre-drill a hole. I just ran screws in, no problem. This stuff, I pre-drilled, and the holes were too small for the screws, and I was afraid I was gonna break the heads off. So I went to a larger drill bit, and just be thoughtful of that, be mindful that this stuff is truly hardwood centers, and whatever that finish is, it's strong. And if you can, I wish I could have got some, but anyway. Okay, so the way I decided to hold this in was using these, buying them at Home Depot. They're 1 inch wide and 1/8 of an inch thick. So these are measured in, so started tape up here, measured down to here, then to the next one down, and then I just cut it off a little bit past that and drilled those. And this one I did not drill, none of these. I just did each of them with the holes that hold on the insulation, and then put those on, cutting them, or from the end of your metal, you're coming down here, so you already have the end here. This one I went under behind, but these I went over. This has a little bit of a gap, so just made sense. It fit better. But anyway, and then these are self-tapping screws at the top. So, and that's the only place I use those. Just like This here, just a good old standard, very short self-tapping screw. I'd say that is like half an inch or something. So anyway, that one's gonna, they're gonna dig into the headliner a little bit, but what are you gonna do? So I think it came out pretty clean though, and it is definitely solid. So one of the things I'm learning as I go along is trying to find parts. I think I spend more time looking for parts than I do actually building the stuff. And for example, this little doodad here, I was trying to find, and I could find all kinds of things sorta, but not exactly what I needed. And so that is a bulkhead fitting. So I found this one, but turns out it's way too big. And they're kind of meant, I think, for barrels and stuff like that. This is not gonna fit down that hole if I just pop out the rivets here and try to use the hole they have. I may actually make a new hole somewhere else, but not with this. I ordered, once I knew what things were called, I was able to find lots of them. I was starting to think they didn't make them, but you just got to know the right terminology. So this is my start, and I'm going to finish drilling that with this 1 inch carefully, and I just want to punch through the material enough to, I don't want this teeth to catch on this material and tear it up. It's going to be like that, it's going to just ruin it. So I'm going to finish it with a razor knife. It's like right here. Still fairly tough. Okay. We need a good vacuum. And we have our hole through for our drain. What I'm gonna do instead is put this straight down through the hole, and then I can just attach my hose to this on the outside and drain, and then put a nipple in here or about 3/4 to a hose bib this way down, and so the nut will be almost flush with the surface. I'm probably gonna have to widen this out just a little bit. I don't have to go all the way to the material. Probably the thickness of this right here will be good. Just to get over this nut. Okay, and when you put this in, just be careful. I broke this corner, as I may have mentioned earlier, and on this little piece here, it's a little tricky because you've got one of those ferrules or whatever they're called, tubings coming up, and they are epoxied or something in place. They are tough, and so you don't want to take them out. And there was 2 here that were not epoxied in, and I'm going to put those back in after I do all this. They'll fit down into these holes. It must be how they did it. Okay, here it is, all in, already tightened and everything. It's threaded inside, as I said. These things are pretty cool. My idea is this is plastic and it's not super heavy duty, so if something should hit against it or whatever, loading it or unloading, I don't know, something, then this would be like a fuse, a weak link, and break, not tear up the wall with a nice tough brass one and rip out metal or bend the thing. So that's my thinking. And this is what it looks like. It's threaded in 3/4 inside. straight thread, and the outside is straight thread. That's the tricky part. If you get the pipe thread that's tapered, which is standard for PVC joints and stuff like that, doesn't work. So look for the straight thread, and this is called a bulkhead fitting, I guess. Bulkheads is the key word if you're looking online. And so, yeah, and this is a hose thread, so I can thread a hose onto that, and away I go. Pretty happy with the way it came out. Okay, I got this all made up. Our handy dandy Ace hardware. And this being the hose bib fitting into a threaded connector, and 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch nipple, and it's going to fit down in there inside of, hopefully, my bulkhead fitting. It looks like it's okay, so I'm gonna make this little bracket that's gonna go underneath the sink out of a piece of this. Well, I already did, but yeah, it's just a 1 inch by 1 inch by 1/8 of an inch aluminum that you can get at any hardware store. I know Home Depot, Lowe's, all them have it. And this is going to receive my push button switch that will turn on this little pump to pump water up into my faucet. And this was quite a fun little project to figure out. So this is a 1/4 compression, and then on this end I could not find a reducer or adapter or whatever you want to call it, so I ended up putting a piece of 3/16 silicone in here, about 1.5 inches long or so. And then with that, and I've got a clamp, and then with that I can push that on there like so, and hopefully it'll be watertight. We will see. And then I'm going to use, that'll get me up to the faucet. Then with this I can go into my water container, or I could use polyethylene tubing. This is for an ice making machine or whatever. This is food grade. It's just silicone tubing. So that's how I'm gonna do it. We'll see. But anyway, this came out pretty good, I thought. So like I said, it's pretty easy. I just used a step drill for the 5/8 hole. This I got on Amazon, and has a little nut that goes on the back, like so. And this little LED light will go in here. Same kind of deal. Little nut right here holds it in place, and it will flash. It literally flashes. It's a flashing LED. So when the water's running, because this is not a pressure regulated pump, it will keep running. And even if the faucet's off, this particular faucet has a stuck open position, or you can do just a squirt. If you had a pressure sensitive, like a typical RV, you could push this down and just get water for a moment or two, but that's not what I got. So I love this faucet though. I think it's really cool. So, but I can leave it in that position and use the switch, pump it on, and hopefully not forget about it. I drain all my water. Switch, get the nut. Don't ask me where to get this flashing LED because I bought this. I bet this thing's 15, maybe 20 years old. It was still in the package from K4. I never even heard of that company before or after, but I'm sure they're long gone. Red and black are for the LED. That's always on even when the button's depressed. It's a catch button or whatever, lock, I don't know what they call it, but it stays, it's not a, you don't have to hold it to put it on, it'll stay on and then off, push it again. The wiring for the electrical, for the pump, goes up under the aluminum, angle aluminum, and into the seam, and it's just shoved back into the seam and runs down. I didn't want to tie in or tap into or cut into the original Kimbo wiring, so and then it goes back, comes out here and goes out through the hole, through the same hole the propane line for the stove comes in. And this up here is a Jolka plug that Kimbo puts in. That is the female side. Jolka is a brand from Australia, and they make a hot tap, which I ended up getting. And we also have their toilet. Good stuff, I like it. I'll show you inside the propane box. I have plug it into the Jolka tap, and that supplies my power when I plug in my barrel plug. Here's the barrel plug. A lot of times I'll just use a DeWalt battery to run this. This is a whole nother. This doesn't come with a Kimbo. I built this. I have another video for that. But anyway, a lot of times I just plug it in there because my Blue Eddy only has one cigarette lighter plug. I don't know what they call these now. These plugs. Used to call them cigarette lighters back when cars had cigarette lighters in them.
So the drain was probably the most complicated thing to figure out because I didn't really understand straight pipe versus MPT or National Pipe Thread, which is tapered, and how drains work. So anyway, I ended up with a PVC 1.5 inch threaded to slip bushing, and that got me onto the pipe where the tailpipe would normally go, which is straight thread, but it worked. And then with a PVC bushing of a 1.5 slip to 3/4 MPT female, glued that in, and then added a PVC 3/4 MPT male that also had on it was a special adapter with a GHT or garden hose thread female in, and then I was able to hook my hose to that.
So that's our Kimbo kitchen build for a flush counter. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comments. I'll try to help if I can. So, yeah, we like it.